Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the fourth in the Adobe webinar series on B2B digital transformation. Today, we're going to be talking about a subject that's very close to my heart, which is product information management. I've personally been involved in building e-commerce and B2B websites for around 20 years, and product information management has been a key in almost every one of those projects through the time. So I'd like to start with introducing my esteemed panel members. We might just ask them to introduce themselves, let everybody know what they do in their role, and maybe give us a little bit of a fun fact about themselves. I might start with myself. My name is James Horn. I'm the Managing Director of Balance Internet. We're a systems integrator that specialises in e-commerce and B2B. And as a subset of that, we specialise mainly in the Magento platform, in building out Magento ecosystems for clients in both the B2C and B2B space. And my fun fact is that I love endurance mountain bike riding, and about 2 years ago, I rode 1,000 kilometres from the north of the Flinders Ranges to Adelaide cross country over 10 days. I might throw to you, Alex.
Thanks, James. My name's Alex Lawson. I'm the B2B Customer Success Manager at Balance Internet. I've been with Balance Internet for around 3 years in my current role and also as an account manager. I previously have worked in both B2C and B2B in a marketing capacity, and prevalent to this webinar, certainly B2B within the health and organic sector at a distributor and wholesaler. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Alex. Steve. Oh, your fun fact. Wait a second.
Oh, my fun fact, of course. Sorry, I once auditioned and was accepted into Cirque du Soleil, but I would have had to have moved to France, so I chose a different career path.
Wow. That's cool.
Wow.
I'll be digging into that fact a bit later. I'd like more information. Steve, over to you, mate.
Gee, that is a fun fact. Steve Cochran, Head of Digital for the Weatherbeater Group. Being Head of Digital, I'm looking after all our marketing teams, our creative teams, and our digital commerce teams. The Weatherbeater Group, we are a retailer, wholesale retailer. We've got 51 retail stores throughout Australia under the Horseland brand. We have operations in the UK, New Zealand, and USA, but they are wholesale operations. I've been in the business 3 years now, so it's had some challenging times, especially none more than the last sort of 3 months. But exciting fact about myself, couldn't come up with a lot about myself, but I'll give you one thing about Horseland. Mike Bucknell, who is one of the founders, he bought it. He's an accountant, and he bought his first store off a client, which was a Horseland store, and it was in Flinders Lane in the middle of the city. So you don't see too many horse stores now in the middle of the city, but thought that was quite interesting.
Very interesting. Thanks for that, Steve. Dawn, over to you.
Thanks, James. Dawn Rafferty. I'm e-commerce manager for Jasco. We are a B2B company distributing art and craft products throughout Australia and New Zealand. I've been with Jasco for about 8 years now, and Jasco itself is 60 years old this year. Fun fact about me, my background is the product, so I went to art college and all that, and for my degree show I used food as my material, so I painted with food.
Excellent.
Random.
And now you've got a young child, I understand, who's probably painting different things with food.
Indeed.
A bit older now, but at some point, definitely.
Exactly.
Okay, and last but not least, Daniel, over to you, mate.
Thanks, James. So I'm Daniel Roberts. I'm the CEO and founder of SKUvantage. SKUvantage we set up in 2012 to basically solve the problem of how to get good product information in front of consumers and buyers more easily. I used to work for Tesco.com in the UK for about 6 years, which is the world's largest online grocer, and more recently worked for Woolworths, heading up multi-channel across their non-food brands, so Dick Smith, Big W, Dan Murphy's, and Masters. And basically, throughout that experience, appreciated all the misery that James alluded to around product information management. And so set up SKUvantage to solve that problem, and we provide services and technology around product content production, product content management platforms, so we actually have a very easy-to-use PIM, product content syndication, so that brands can share product content easily with their customers, and we also help wholesalers and B2B businesses source product content from their suppliers more easily. My fun fact, I set up what I think is the world's first multi-channel dating business back in 2002, I think it was, which is still going.
Excellent. Well, let's get into it. That's a great fun fact as well that I'd be interested in understanding a little bit more about. Okay, let's get into the content. So talking about product information management, we're going to divide it up into 3 sections. We're going to talk about operational, tactical, and conversion-based strategies around product information management to help the listeners and viewers of the webinar, hopefully give them a few gold nuggets to take away about how they may handle product information management within their own business. We're well aware, I think, on the call that there's a variety of different attendees. Some are from small business and some are from larger businesses. And I suppose product information management can vary in strategy and approach between the different types of businesses and sizes and scales. And we'll try to give some help to the whole array of businesses that are out there from small to large. So I might start with the first slide. We've done those introductions. So I might start with operational, and I might just sort of talk through the 5 key operational strategies. So first of all is avoiding spreadsheet nightmares with a single source of truth. So trying to get all of your product information into one spot. It can increase staff productivity and velocity. So having a strong PIM strategy actually gives you productivity and speed benefits. Distribute and collect product information across the entire supply chain. So it allows you to spread that product information all the way from manufacturer all the way through to the customer. And obviously that product information can vary between the audience that you're trying to present it to. 4, enable the suppliers and staff to upload and edit product content. And this is about enabling your supply chain to actually push product data and supply it to your internals and your customers. And the last one is access bulk aggregated data, which can enable rapid publishing. So you can get large bodies of data with structures and present it. So again, that can also lead to number 2, which is your staff productivity and velocity. I might throw to the panel and start with you, Alex. How do you see PIM improving staff productivity, and what examples can you share for us?
Certainly. This is something that within our sector we were certainly a little bit behind the 8 ball and needed to implement something. One was gaining information from suppliers, but also managing our information flow internally as well. We didn't have a PIM system, so it was that spreadsheet nightmare that you talk about. One of the biggest challenges that we faced was version control, that if you're emailing one spreadsheet to someone and then they make an edit on it and then you have to then go, okay, well, is this the one you're looking at or that one? And then I made a change to this one, and it just became very challenging to have a collaborative space that was a central point of data. That, I think, would have benefited us significantly in order to have that centralised location from both that internal perspective, so having people within the product team, the marketing team, even logistics team commenting within that platform, but also from a supplier perspective as well. Being a wholesaler, distributor and manufacturer, we also needed information from our suppliers. So having one place where they would be able to jump in and update lots of information or minimal amounts of information, having sort of I guess, flagged approach of completion, something like that, would have been very beneficial for us and improved that efficiency from the spreadsheets going left, right and centre.
Thanks, Alex. I might just connect the dots to Steve here. I know you guys have been through, at WeatherBeater, a pretty significant PIM project over the last couple of years. Have you guys seen any productivity benefits since moving into the more advanced PIM world? And also, are you allowing suppliers to upload data at this stage, or is that on your roadmap?
Yeah, look, very, very similar to what Alex talked about. Our productivity gains have been really around. We produce a lot of, manufacture a lot of product as well. So we have a lot of seasonal product ranges, primarily sort of spring, summer, and winter, autumn. And the ability now to actually plan and prepare, sort of 6 to 10 months in advance, has really improved our ability to bring better product and better information to market in a timely manner. Before we had a PIMS system in place, it was very much, the last minute, the last sort of 4 weeks before a seasonal launch. You're trying to collect images, you're trying to get attribute data and features and benefits data, collating it all together, and it was very tough. And as Alex pointed out, there was multiple spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets going around that were getting edited. So we definitely saw some great gains in having a centralised system that everyone can log into, from customer service to in product development into marketing, and we've got a global footprint, so those guys can log into it too. But from a supplier point of view, that is definitely part of our journey. We're not yet there, but we are at the moment supplying we're supplying templates to our suppliers. Sorry, I got a bit tongue-tied there. We're supplying templates to them, so they fill out the information into this template, so then we're just automatically uploading the features and benefits straight into the system. So again, saves that manual task of sitting there trying to look at a basic spreadsheet and doing some manual entry one by one for a customer product. So we've certainly seen some gains there as well.
Thanks, Steve. That's really awesome. I'll come back to you with some other questions later and dive in a bit deeper. Might move to you, Dawn. You've got a massive product catalogue, a catalogue of products that my family, I know, have quite enjoyed over the COVID lockdown. And I'm based in Melbourne, so even more so. Talk to us about your products and I suppose some of the challenges that you've had with product data management and getting that right in your infrastructure.
Thanks, James. I guess just to say a bit about our product mix, we have a huge catalogue, as you said, of products there's a huge variety in there. So we sell large format canvases all the way down to super detailed brushes, all the different kinds of paints. So we don't just sort of sell one product type, we sell many that are in our space and then different levels within each. And then that presents challenges as well when we're working with different suppliers who can each provide content in a different format or even different levels of content, because we very much partner with particularly our global suppliers to put the best content we can into market. We have a lot of the same challenges that Alex outlined, where not having a defined source of truth is our biggest challenge, version control, and then also having multiple brand and product managers all working to the same front end to the website, but each with a different slant on it with a different product mix. Trying to get people to all sort of fit within the same structure and architecture is the challenge. And then, the version control and the source of truth is the ongoing day-to-day challenge, and making sure that our products are presented similarly, no matter sort of what brand or product type they are.
Are you always improving that? I mean, is it constant change?
Yeah, absolutely. It's also meeting the needs of either our customers or end consumers, which inherently drives our customers' questions as well. So, there's a trend at the moment, more and more people are inquiring after environmentally friendly or vegan friendly products. So we're backtracking through our catalogue to see what do we have that fits that need. So it's constantly evolving, reacting to the market, and putting a different slant on products as well to make them relevant, especially, as you said, with this COVID market, things are changing rapidly as well.
Thanks, Dawn. I might move to Dan now. Dan, you've obviously got a wealth and depth of experience in this space, and you would have seen a lot of good and bad product content. I know you've flicked us through some examples, so we might just walk through a few of these and let you talk through some good and bad examples of product content. So I'll move onto the Chemist Warehouse one, and if you want to just talk me through when you want me to change slides, I'll move through them as we go.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, probably extend that range to the good, bad, and comically hilarious in terms of the range of product content quality. So in terms of the slide there showing the Barocca product on the Chemist Warehouse website, the reason for showing that is that consumer sites often illustrate best practice of the art of the possible of what is possible with product content. Consumer sites typically have lower margins, they have more competition, they have more demanding customers, and they have a more public-facing brand to worry about. And so they require really good execution. And what this slide shows is, what is possible and is increasingly becoming the standard that consumers are used to with product content. And this shows multiple images with zoom. It shows video, extensive descriptions, attribution, 360 spins, reviews, and so on, and even buying guides to help people compare products. And it also illustrates how you can get a lot more product content on a website, obviously, than you can on the packaging. And then you can use that product content to engage buyers, drive behavior, and really give them the confidence to buy online. And this is particularly true for highly functional products. So obviously, vitamins are a functional product, but the vast majority of B2B products are in categories that are highly functional, that require well-described and attributed listings. And without this, you end up with more questions, higher returns, higher marketing costs, and all the negatives of having poor product content. It's important to remember that B2B buyers are exactly the same people as shoppers, as consumers, normal consumers buying online on Woolworths. They're just in a different context. But the way that they will consider products for their buying for their businesses is exactly the same thought and shopping process as when they're buying products for their own personal use. And they'll have exactly the same frustrations if they can't find the information that helps them get to a purchase choice easily. And it's interesting to hear the nightmares of getting product content from suppliers, because what's amazing about this product is that Chemist Warehouse hasn't had to lift a finger to get all of this product content. Not a thing. They've not had to do a thing, because we've basically sent it to them from Bayer, who is our client, as part of the API that we have with Chemist Warehouse. So that's sort of
from a B2B perspective, you've given the content to the B2B provider through the PIM, and then the B2B provider has pushed that to the retailer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh no, we push it to the retailer. We get the content from Bayer. In fact, we enrich the product content on Bayer's behalf. So they send us the box of Barocca. We enrich it. They send us the assets. We create the rich content, and then we feed that through to Chemist Warehouse using an API, and then they just approve it, and it goes live on their site.
Great, mate. Just another example. This one, Finish. I really like this. Yeah. This shows a little bit about how you do it in the back end.
Yeah, so one of the critical success factors in achieving good product content is having the technology and processes that enable product content to be captured efficiently and accurately across a huge diversity of products. But one of the issues is that many product information management platforms, and obviously Excel, are a barrier rather than an enabler because they're so complex to use, or they just lead to total chaos. So what this slide sort of illustrates is the high level of usability of our platform, just as an example, which should be aimed for when selecting a technology to help you capture this product content. Because product content creation is often done by relatively low-wage people, often temps, and you need to make the job as painless as possible for them, and much easier to do the right thing than it is to do the wrong thing, and make sure there's clear and excellent workflow. So the right platform should really enable you to know what needs to be done, create the content quickly, easily, and intuitively, simulate how this would appear for your buyers, and then provide reports on product content quality so that you can continuously improve it.
Fabulous. Thanks, mate. So my son works at Officeworks, and so he's just learning how to sell both the technical equipment and office chairs. So this is a great slide. I might even show him this later, but I think you're going to show us an example of good versus bad.
Yeah, exactly. So if you just could flick between those two slides, so that's obviously the Officeworks chair, and then there's another nameless Australian office supplies website there. And both of these chairs are priced similarly at $350. And the reason I chose a chair is because this can be used in both the consumer and the B2B setting. And also a chair has functional requirements, but it also has subjective requirements, such as, you know, how comfortable is it? How long lasting will it be? Is it going to be ergonomically suitable? So both the functional and the subjective requirements need to be described with good product information. And it's obvious that you're going to be much better persuaded by the Officeworks listing than the second one. The first listing from Officeworks leaves you almost, you know, it's got videos, it's got more images than you could possibly ever dream of. It's got full attribution. It's got everything you could need, similar to the Barocca example. And you're going to be buying that product with a much greater level of confidence. It'll result in much lower returns, if any returns. And you'll just end up with a much better consumer experience. And for the second one, you're actually only really going to be buying that on price. And even then, you're probably not sure whether it's value for money. And because product content means because poor product content means people only buy on price, you end up with lower margins from poor product content, which is often overlooked. And that obviously can make your B2B strategy a whole waste of time. So I hope those few examples have just given some basic guidance around best practice of what's possible.
If I was going to take away one sort of golden nugget to leave the audience with here is, you know, if you just look purely at conversion rate, if you were comparing these two sites, the conversion rate on this site, this page here, with the video, with the how-to, with the assembly guides, with the warranty information, I'm much more likely to go ahead with my purchase. There's a lot less resistance to purchase going through the sales funnel and the conversion funnel in this page than here. Because as soon as I go here and I've got a question, well, how do I assemble it? Or, what are the assembly instructions? What's the warranty information, etc. It's not here. If I can't speak to someone about it, or if there's no live chat, or if I can't call someone because it's after hours, I might move on to another site, and I might end up back on this site because it's got the answers. And if you look at the, I suppose, strategic benefits or ROI on PIM and running product information quickly, this is a pretty good example. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sorry about the technical glitch at the start there. Just learning the tech. We might move now onto tactical. So from a tactical perspective, which is another group of strategies around product information management, a couple of thoughts here. So firstly, you can actually integrate with InDesign and some other catalog production tools to rapidly create print catalogs. So that could be catalog books or printed collateral for the store. You can enable faster time to market for new or changing product data, extend your product catalog by supporting new products and suppliers. So rapidly expand your product catalog by taking on these new suppliers and products quite quickly. Expand into new countries, territories, and languages, and I'll talk to Steve in a sec about that. And prepare your multi-channel future by delivering an optimized and relevant experience across all channels. And one of the things about that one is, often different channels require different types of product data, and you can customize your product data to, say, your own website versus your retailer's website versus an eBay site or an Amazon site, and they all may have different content that needs to be optimized in different ways. I might throw to you, Steve, and just you guys do you work in a lot of different marketplaces, market spaces, and you also trade globally from a B2B perspective. So it'd be great to hear from an input and output perspective, and sort of what you're doing and how that's affected. So I might just start with inputs. Over to you, mate.
Yeah, look, this slide's a great slide. It sort of indicates all the sort of touch points throughout the business, and internal stakeholders is a big one for us, where we've got marketing teams, we've got product teams, and we've got global teams all having access to our PIMs and the ability to alter content. We also have our stock file that goes through from our ERP, and also suppliers, which we're manually uploading. But what I find with sort of inputs, each country, so a good example of that would be, say, the UK. We call rugs horse rugs rug, where they may call it blankets. So we have to alter the description slightly for the UK. But the core of the description of the product's there. So you can alter into different languages if you like. But ultimately the core description's there.
So talk about the digital outputs then, Steve, here. So you're talking about eBay on the left-hand side here, and then your languages. What do you guys do in this sort of output space? What outputs have you guys got?
So we deal a lot in eBay, and where eBay, every marketplace is a little bit different. I suppose when people are coming to Horseland, they're going into our rug category, where if you go to eBay and you put in rugs, it could be house rugs, it could be horse rugs, it could be anything. So you've really got to change your product titles to cater for some of those category descriptions. So we would have to add horse rugs into the title of our product for that to be searchable on eBay. And Amazon has some similar sort of things around that as well. So,
and when we talk about your global strategy, UK and US, sorry to cut you off, UK, US, is there any difference in the product content there?
Yeah, as I discussed before, really around terminology, around blankets versus rugs, and just some of the nuances around, just describing the environment from Australian to the UK. So the UK obviously like to flavour it a lot more around, that English equestrian style, where we're on the Australian market, we're a little bit more relaxed in that area. And then the US is a lot different, where they're a little bit more westernised and like that Western sort of, environment.
So the same product, say a saddle or a bit of tack, maybe have a slightly different description in the UK versus US versus Australia to meet, I suppose, the specific semantics of that cohort. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, great example. Yeah. So and the PIMS gives you the ability to alter those, the product description based on the country of origin. You need to favour it for, which is basically the same for marketplaces as well.
Do you do any of this stuff here around non-digital outputs? I mean, we can talk about the digital outputs, which is websites and marketplaces and where you're pushing content around digitally. But do you use your PIM for any of these non-digital outputs, and is it helping productivity or process in that area?
We're not as yet, but we are actually exploring ticketing for our promotion. So price tags is an area it's a major, it's very manual at the moment. So that's the area that we're looking at, because all our product that comes through, from our point of view, it does have some pricing associated to it. So we can use that for our pricing and ticketing for our retail outlets and our various promotions.
What about catalogues or
we don't do any. Well, okay. We're actually moving away from our printed catalogue, so we do a little bit, digitally. Obviously, we do our flipping books and so forth, but there's no integration at the moment, and no plans to at this stage.
Okay. Thanks, mate. That's really, really insightful. Really, really, really interesting. And you've been doing that over that PIM project's been going for the last couple of years, hasn't it? Is it about 2 years?
Yeah, look, it has. It's been. I suppose it's one of those things you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And I suppose, we're 2 years down the track, and are we experts at it? Certainly not. We're learning every day. I suppose anyone who's looking to get into a PIMS, I know this gets thrown around a lot, but minimal viable product, just you can always build on it. And I wish we had have gone a little bit more minimal viable product rather than going for gold straight off the bat. That's probably my main advice for a lot of people.
Thanks, mate. I might throw to Dawn and Dan for some comments. I might start with you, Daniel. Have you seen businesses, B2B businesses in particular, move into new markets quite rapidly using the power of product information management system?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen this a number of times with our clients. We cut across both B2B and B2C. Basically, as you well know, James, the two biggest barriers of an e-commerce strategy are developing the e-commerce engine, so Magento, the e-commerce platform, and then filling it with the fuel, so the e-commerce product content. And so to further this rather well-worn analogy, if you basically have the fuel, you can pretty much drive anywhere. And so, well captured product content, so descriptions, images, and all of the things that we mentioned, is very easy to repurpose and deploy in any context such that you can spin up new channels to market very rapidly if you've got the underlying technology which enables it, or you can just repoint the same information at a new platform with an API, which is what a lot of our customers do. So one of our major customers, L'Oreal, has about, I don't know, probably about 10 platforms that we feed with different APIs from Shopify to Magento. We also have customers who want to engage via B2B portals, B2C portals, field sales tools, printed material that you touched on, third-party marketplaces, and by having a create once, use anywhere approach to product content and an appropriate PIM to deliver on it, and deliver those requirements to each channel, they can realize their ambitions faster with a lot less pain. And then the last thing is really sourcing all of this product content from so many suppliers. So one of our clients, which is the largest rural supplies business in Australia, obviously a very unsophisticated supplier base, and they were previously capturing, well, they weren't really capturing product information, to be honest, and they wanted to develop a B2B portal. And by providing them with a managed service to source product content from their suppliers and relieving them of that misery, they were able to spin up this new channel a lot faster fundamentally than they were able to do it themselves, because sourcing product content was holding them back. So yeah, it's a very, very common challenge and that we see.
Thanks very much. Dawn, you've got a number of B2B customers through Jasco, and their demands for product content probably vary. What are some of those challenges, and how are you solving them? How are you delivering content to your B2B customers?
Yeah, definitely, James. We very much are much the same as our suppliers are to us. We are the supplier of content to our customers, and our website is absolutely a massive sort of source of that data and content, and our customers use it that way. Our biggest challenge is working with our customers to ensure that the content that's sort of sitting on our site, if that's the base, that's been enhanced and enriched before deploying into their channel. Like our B2B site is old-ish, as in it's got a good digital footprint and it's got good content, and it's important that, much the same as we've established an SEO footprint, we want to ensure our customers also have their own footprint so that we don't cannibalize each other, or in market, there's plenty of space for everybody, and it's about positioning ourselves so that we don't penalize each other. So that's a big part of what we do, I guess, is working with our customers to discuss that. It's really important that we work with them on it because the content is so critical for their success. So ensuring that sell-through through their channel, which is what's going to help us, it's a whole cycle. So it's really important that we work closely with them to maximize the opportunity for them in the flow out, to the end consumer.
So have you seen any issues with content duplication with Google, where a customer and yourselves and others have got the same content, and therefore it's affected rankings organically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're even guilty of it ourselves within Jasco, within, say, like product management, is taking our brand content, our supplier content, which doesn't help us at all, from an SEO Google perspective. So from an e-com team perspective, we very much try to intercept that as much as we can. Because it's so, a lot of our product is quite technical, and it is challenging to enrich it and recreate it and say the same thing. So it's important that we all just be really mindful of it in our space. What we do from a Jasco perspective is probably to have more sort of dot point format on our website, because then often an end consumer B2C site is more conversational. So inherently, often a retailer ends up rewriting and enriching in a conversational way anyway. So you're kind of already sort of, without even knowing you're doing it, you're reworking the content. So there's kind of ways we work to kind of minimize it. Yeah.
It's super important. Like to say, it seems like a simple thing, but having a particular piece of content that's pushed out into like your own sites, your customers' sites, marketplaces, and making it different is critical, not just from a point of view of optimizing how it's found on those platforms and how it's indexed on those platforms, but also just stopping that duplication that you speak of. So if I was going to sort of leave a message from you and I on this one, I think it's don't cut and paste if you can, actually try to get your customers, that you're supplying the content to enrich it. I might move on now to conversion, and I might stick with you here, Dawn. I know that this is a topic close to your heart. We've had many debates and discussions around conversion, and there's lots of things that good product information management and good product data can help with conversion. So I'll just walk through a few of those. So firstly, you get the business intelligence out of it. You understand attribution and taxonomy architecture, and you can keep optimizing that over time. As you see how people are navigating your site and searching your site, you can feed that back into your product information to optimize then how your site performs from a conversion perspective, both on site, but also how it's indexed by Google and other tools and other market spaces. Deliver customer price catalogs and service every customer vertical effectively. This is about customizing and personalizing your product data to your customer cohort so that it optimizes that conversion efficiency. Personalize the content for each channel. We've talked about that before, but the way that Steve was saying before about eBay, but the way that eBay wants its product content versus their own website versus UK versus US versus Australia, it can be the same product, but you can customize it and personalize it for each channel and each market and each language to optimize conversion. Turn browsers into customers. That's a really important one. So as someone sort of, if they're sort of tire kicking around your site looking at different things, if that product information is accurate and detailed and it's what they're looking for, you can actually cause a buying moment by that product content being great. And the last one is about searchability, and that's just not only on the on-site search. One fun fact about on-site search is that someone using on-site search is around 10 times more likely to buy because they know what they want, and particularly as they're using a longer tail of keywords, they can be more likely to buy. So if you've got rich product data with lots of keywords in it, when someone does a long tail search on your site, they're more likely to come up with the product that's relevant to them. And then off-site, obviously, as Spiders, Google, for example, indexes your site, it's indexing that content and those keywords and that data as well. So I might throw to you, Dawn, to just have a little bit of a chat about how you handle this and how you've got complex products with associations, variations, bundles. How do you handle that? And then how do you also prioritize the content around this content stack idea for important products versus the bulk of the products that you've got?
Thanks, James. Yeah, look, I think the key point in it is something that Dan mentioned earlier, which is a B2B shopper shops the same as a B2C shopper. And if we can understand how our end consumers consume our products, then inherently your website's going to form that structure to sell to your B2B customers. So we very much kind of try and position the content that way on our site. What we find inherently as well is that certain brands end up with richer content because of the content that's available to us as a customer of our suppliers as well. So we do very much partner with our global suppliers to ensure that we provide as much product data as we can at that purchase point. And inherently, it's the big component of the B2B channel is that you're also educating your customers on how to sell through. So if they feel like they're empowered and they have the product knowledge, because some of our products are super technical and it's really specific how to use or what does this use with information. And it's really important that that's accurate. And then our customers have that information to then on-sell to their customers. Another thing that we end up finding as well is that we very much seem to work kind of brand across brand. Often certain brands will have that broader mix of products, so they inherently start to cross and upsell as well. And we find even in market with the end consumers, there's a certain brand loyalty with some brands as well. So we know those end consumers, they are looking for related products by the same brand. And then other brands of ours or other products work well to cross and sell across different brands. I think as well it's understanding the B2B customer for us anyway is, you know, it's a bigger buying decision to purchase new products because it's shelf space, which is so critical in stores, in bricks and mortar stores. Obviously digitally, you know, in this island, we can have warehouses stocked full of products, but when you're talking about an actual shop front, it's so critical that that space on the shelf is well used and that the product will turn. So yeah, that's one of the biggest issues we have is making sure that our retailers feel empowered to then sell through to our end users, and we do that with just educational content.
Do you actually put more contents against more important products or higher margin products? So if we talk about this stack that's on the slide here, you know, do you enhance your top 20 more than you might your bulk 2000? And if so, what are some of the things in that list that you might do? Do you do ratings and reviews, or video content, or more images, or FAQs, or cross-sell, upsell? Like, how do you vary your strategy with product information around different types of products?
I think, yeah, it's definitely, I think, what I find even as ecom manager, I start out with, I'm going to focus on this range of product. For whatever reason, strategically, we've decided that this product is our focus and we need to optimize it. And it does begin a journey of, does it have video content? Again, our product, like a tube of paint, doesn't really demonstrate the qualities of using that product. So video is so critical for us for certain products. So it kind of depends on what the product is as well as to what we then tailor, what content we create. So, you know, things like Canvas maybe doesn't lend itself to a video unless it has really unique attributes that are highlighted in video content. Often, yes, I find that we start out with one range and then just inherently as you move through the catalog and through the brand and you're exploring what's available to you as a customer of your suppliers, we end up broadening the enrichment. And then nicely, we end up with often a nicely rounded brand story as well. Does that answer that a bit, James?
Perfect, yeah. I might just segue to Steve, a bit out of order here, but Steve, you've got some pretty technical products. Just adding to what Dawn had to say, you know, do you handle your products a bit differently if they're higher price or higher margin or, you know, on season versus ones that it might be, I suppose, more bits and bobs?
Yeah, look, we do, in particular around our rugs, and we're re-platforming at the moment, so you won't see it. But I think it's important to try and, you know, get relatable sort of terms and attributes to your industry that your customers can relate to and feel comfortable with. And, you know, a good example of that is we will have an attribute of climate. So, you know, when to use a horse rug in a warm climate, a cooler climate, or a mild climate, for as an example. So, it's all about improving that customer experience on site and having that, relatable sort of hierarchy and search for the customer.
What about video content or ratings and reviews? Do you go there?
Yeah, we do. Yep, we certainly do. Yeah, we're actually investing a lot more into videos, how-to videos. How to rug a horse. What's the best type of rug? Features of a rug. Not only great for consumer, but great from an SEO point of view as well. Okay,
and do you vary that strategy depending on the product ranges? How many products do you have across a weather beater, for instance?
I would have about 5,000. And we're only carrying online, we're only carrying half the product range that's in store at the moment.
So across those 5,000, how do you prioritize which product gets more content and or is enhanced more?
I suppose rugs and saddles are always areas that we look at to invest a lot more time and effort to. Saddles in particular it's a heavy investment. A saddle can cost you anywhere from sort of $500 to $7,000. So it's a really considered purchase. So the more information that we can give our customer, the better informed they are to make a decision. And rugs, rugs is highly competitive now online. So the more information, the more technical information that you can give the customer for them to make the decision that's best for their horse, which is their pet, is going to be beneficial.
Thanks. I might go to you, Alex. Just from the point of view of SME versus a large organisation, I mean, it can be handled differently. Have you got any thoughts on how a large versus a small business might approach this area of product content, and just some tips from your experience?
Certainly. We didn't have a PIM, as I said previously, and I think there are a lot of B2B businesses out there that aren't necessarily ready for that jump or necessarily have the resources there for that jump. And I think the fundamental principle is that there is a source of truth. So while a PIM is, we've discussed all the benefits of that and certainly beneficial, as long as you've got that source of truth, a lot of efficiencies are gained already from that. So that could be through your ERP system or it could be through your e-commerce platform. I guess from an ERP perspective, it's not the primary use of an ERP. So you just need to know that from a restrictions perspective going into that. And then from an e-commerce perspective, it's where that sits within your larger ecosystem. So whether or not you can push that out to other platforms and so forth into other markets. But I think just ensuring that you have that source of truth, be it a different system to a PIM, does create those efficiencies that we have spoken about, and certainly minimises the margin for error by keeping data in all forms of different locations. So, yeah, I think that would, wherever it sits, is beneficial.
And I might throw to you now, Dan, as well, just on this area, just around search and navigation, etc. How have you seen better, more well-structured product content and product data lead to higher conversion through either site search or navigation or just usability of the site?
Yeah, no, it's a very important question. So, because obviously helping buyers find products that meet their requirements is the essential component of any e-commerce platform, whether it's B2B or B2C. And this is particularly true in the endless aisle strategies that are now increasingly being employed by wholesalers and retailers. And to help buyers find products needs a good search and merchandising system. And those search engines need good attribution and well-written product descriptions with clearly defined keywords and good facets in order to perform well. And facets are often used by search algorithms. For example, if you were to search for, say, sparkling white French wine from the Loire Valley, that contains 5 possible facets: sparkling white, French wine, and Loire Valley. And if a consumer was to type that as a search string, and these attributes were well described, and there was good product categorization, then they will get to that product almost instantaneously, and it will give a much better consumer experience, and so higher conversion rate. And also, once you've then got your search results, if you have good faceting and good attribution of those facets, then you can help your shoppers filter and compare results very, very quickly. And anybody who's familiar with the challenge of sifting through hundreds of thousands of listings on eBay knows the frustration of trying to find a product that meets your needs. So really, by defining your facet strategy and your category hierarchy, and then populating it well within your PIM, and helping the users of your PIM simulate your buyer's experience within your PIM, which is one of the things that we do, you can help your consumer search and filter, get to a set of results faster, and then get them across the conversion line. And as I said before, this is particularly true in the B2B space, where there's so many functional attributes. So what's the power rating? What's the physical size? Does it corrode? Lots and lots of very, very functional attributes that buyers are going to be wanting to filter on.
Thanks very much. Really useful insights from everybody. I've really enjoyed this session. There's a couple of questions that we've got through the system, through the platform, that I might turn to now and run a bit of Q&A. The first question, I might keep you on screen, Dan, if you don't mind. But the question was, when does the panel think the right time to move?
I've lost you.
You've lost me? Can you hear me now? I think we might have lost you. All right. Well, I might. Dan might be having some technical difficulties. I might flick to you, Dawn, and perhaps ask a question about e-commerce platforms. Dawn, you guys have just re-platformed. I'm just wondering, what role do you think how do you tie product information management into your e-commerce strategy and your e-commerce platform?
Yeah, well, I guess because we don't have a PIM, inherently our e-com platform sort of becomes a source of truth. What we've sort of done is defined which, I guess, attributes or fields or bits of product content sit where. So we have the ERP, which contains X, Y, and Z attributes, and then the e-commerce platform houses the other 59 of them, or whichever way in reverse. So that's how it sits for us. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not sure, but it does help to have a software that's sort of admin by 1 or 2 people max, being the home for that content, because it means that fewer stakeholders have access to and can touch it. Because obviously as well, you want that pretty locked down from affecting your website perspective. But that's kind of how we use our platforms within our, I guess, product management structure and maintaining that data.
Thanks, Dawn. Alex, did you have any sort of comments? You've been on both sides of the fence. You've been obviously working with an e-commerce systems integrator in Balance and involved in a lot of Magento projects, but you've also been a B2B on the B2B side of the fence from a marketing perspective. What do you think some of the key elements are of product information management within the e-commerce platform as opposed to a separate PIM platform altogether?
I think to probably Steve's point before is that it's okay to start small. So if the capabilities of your e-commerce platform are meeting the needs of the business, but that data just needs to be enriched and enhanced, then that's more than suitable. So ensure that you can build upon this and grow as the business needs change and as the market needs change as well. So as long as it's within, I guess, the business case and is meeting the business needs, establishing the e-com site as that source of truth certainly can have those efficiency gains.
Sure. Thanks, Alex. Awesome. Steve, I might throw you in the deep end, mate. Just you guys have been through a process of PIM, and you must have made a decision at some point to go from sort of spreadsheets to a PIM system. What tipped you over the edge? Like, what was the business case, or what was the critical success factors that you needed to achieve that said, look, we really need a PIM now and we can afford to invest in one?
I suppose it's having a bit of a vision about, okay, where is the business going digitally? We knew that we wanted to enhance our current platform. We knew that we wanted to, have global websites in the UK, the US, and potentially New Zealand. We knew we wanted to have other sales channels like Amazon and eBay and so forth. But there was a lot of manual effort that was currently undertaken within the business across different departments, and there was no source of truth, which was probably the big thing for me. So it's really just identifying that manual effort, and then quantifying that, and then selling the dream back to the business about how we've got this one big site now. As soon as we start launching that next site, then that's when we get that scalability and those efficiencies come into play. And especially being a global sort of business as well, from a wholesale point of view, having consistent data throughout the world is really important, especially for your brand.
Fantastic. Dan, are you back with us, mate?
I am.
Yes.
I don't know what happened. I lost my company.
We've got about a minute to go, so I just might finish with you. The question, we were just talking about the decision to go from spreadsheets to a PIM system. Perhaps you could shed some light on that decision pathway and what you see amongst your customers.
Yeah, sorry if I'm going to say anything that anybody's already said, but because I couldn't hear what was being said. But I think when you start to, because obviously if you have 100 products, you probably don't need a PIM, but if you have 100,000, you certainly do. So it's when you start to have a breakdown of business process, when you start to have stressed colleagues, when you start to have chaos in terms of product content quality and errors creeping in and so on. As you anticipate that that's starting to happen, then you very rapidly need to start planning to get a PIM. And I very much agree with Steve's point around doing the minimum viable product first, but there's no point going to spend $2 million on a PIM when you're only going to use 5% of the functionality for the first few years. And to really get yourself out of spreadsheet hell, that's where I would really, those are really the key inflection points.
Thanks, Dan. I've just got one last question, and that is, how can PIM help with product content approval process? And obviously some of the listeners are in regulated environments where that's really important. How can a PIM help with workflow?
Is that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can have a crack at it.
Again, you can design workflow within which almost all PIMs. The question is, are the workflow capabilities easy to configure such that they're actually going to be used, as in going to be configured? But then also, is it going to be absolutely crystal clear for the recipient what they need to do and make it easy for them to act on the instructions that they're being provided? Because if you're suddenly being given, if you're a legal person and you're suddenly having to log into some system you barely ever use to approve some product content and navigate your way through the menu structure, it's just not going to work. So usability of a platform, of executing this workflow for a disparate group of people across an organization is absolutely crucial to consider.
Thanks so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you so much, all of you, for your time and energy today. It's been really good fun. I've learned a lot. If there's any other questions, you'll see on the slide on the screen, you can give Alex Lawson at Balance Internet an email, and we can probably answer any other questions that might be about. Thanks everyone on the webinar for your time, and we'll hopefully speak to you all soon. Thanks, panel members. See you later.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.